Over the course of the previous 5 episodes of Game of Thrones, we've come a long way with these characters. We've shaped their personalities and seen them grow and evolve. We've become more and more invested in the Forrester family with each episode. That's why I have such mixed feelings on Game of Thrones' conclusion. On one hand, the finale is unapologetically Game of Thrones, which I loved, but it's also very inconclusive at times. As usual, I'm going to avoid spoilers, but if you've yet to play episode 5, be warned I'll be mentioning how it ended. Episode 6 does a great job of making all your decisions from previous episodes feel very important. Decisions you made back in episode 1, some of which you may have even forgotten about, will come back to haunt you in the finale. The main theme that I got from this episode is revenge. Episode 6 offers you a multitude of ways to seek revenge on the people who have wronged the Forresters. This revenge can be exacted through malicious dialogue or more direct violence. Episode 5 concluded with an incredibly difficult choice. Upon Asher and Roderick being reunited, they were immediately ambushed by the Whitehills. You were then forced to choose which brother you wanted to escape, or should the other stay behind to fight to his death. This brutal choice was just the beginning of a series of even harder choices. A lot of this episode's choices involve you having to choose whether you want to save yourself at the expense of betraying others. This is especially tough because some of the characters you need to betray to survive have been good to you throughout. So throwing a particular character under the bus was 100% out of the question for me, which led to a bad ending for one of my focal characters. And of course, this is Game of Thrones. So as you'd expect, you won't be the only one doing the betraying. In typical Game of Thrones fashion, you'll inevitably get stabbed in the back by some characters you thought you could trust. And knowing that this sort of thing is always possible keeps the tension remarkably high throughout episode 6. I was satisfied with how most of my characters' stories ended in episode 6, however there were 2 particular characters who I didn't like the conclusions for. One character's ending was quite ambiguous and unsatisfying. Of course I won't spoil who this was. My other bigger issue with the finale is related to Garrod's story arc. Throughout the past 5 episodes we knew we were building up to a place called the North Grove. We never knew what we would find here. In episode 1 we were told by Lord Forrester before he died that the North Grove must not fall. This was all the information we had about the North Grove. I won't tell you what the North Grove is, but know that I was left with more questions than answers by the time the credits rolled. Game of Thrones closes with a mostly good ending that is unfortunately far too inconclusive, which is surprising seeing as Telltale have always done a fantastic job with wrapping up their stories, especially with their last game, Tales from the Borderlands. I'm giving episode 6 of Game of Thrones a 7. If you enjoy my reviews, please like and subscribe, or follow me on Twitter at ChrisFremo.
But you're the Lord here now, like it or not.